And welcome to Advanced Shouting alongside Dan Petrie. My name is Noel Fogelman. Got the last
What?
second here, Dan. Good job.
No, nowhere close.
Oh, okay, yeah.
TGIF, baby. TGIF.
Yeah, we can actually wait if you want to finish it.
Hey, this is a toast that my grandfather taught me when I was a kid. To our wives and our girlfriends, that they may never meet.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, we got a really busy show. Yankees, over the last 10 years, had a disappointing ending to their seasons, but we'll talk about this one with Meredith Marakovits from Yes. She's a Yankee Clubhouse reporter.
Oh, you're going to enjoy this segment, aren't you, Vartan?
Yeah, Mike's going to revel in that one. We're going to take some alias questions with Ask Michael Anything a little bit later in the show. But let's start with hockey. And, I guess the big news today, which really makes no sense because they're getting older. And older players, when people get older, they go to Florida. They don't go up north. Joe Thornton is going to Toronto. What's the deal with that, guys?
The first thing I thought of is, the only reason he would leave San Jose is to win a cup, and they've not shown that they're ready to win a cup yet. And
That's true.
Yeah.
And what does Toronto gain out of it? Sure, he's a great leader, but there's enough leaders in that room. It just makes no sense. I didn't hear what the term and the money was, but that's irrelevant. It's just like a weird move.
Yeah. Yes, 700,000.
I mean, is he from Toronto, maybe, or?
I think he is. Yeah.
Okay,
right?
maybe he just wants,
I'll look.
Maybe he wants to go back home.
He's from London, Ontario.
Oh, there you go. That's close. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that adds a little more sort of sense to why you might have made the move.
Yeah, but they re-signed Spezza. They brought in Wayne Simmons. So they got a lot of veteran leadership now. The money is.
Why they just keep Matt Martin?
Yeah, exactly.
I think what they're trying to do, what Dubitz is trying to do here is, Tampa got swept out of the playoffs. They brought in Maroon. They brought in Shen. They tried Coleman. They tried to add some sandpaper and grit. That's what I think they're trying to do here. But those guys can still play hockey, and I don't think Joe Thornton is that guy anymore. where is he playing? No, Spezza's your third or fourth line center. You would think Thornton would be the fourth line. I don't know. I just don't know what to expect here. I don't think he's going to give you what you need. And it's like, yeah, Tampa brought those guys in, but they put them with the PlayStation team. They put them with some of the most talented players in the league and a great blue line. And I don't see that in Toronto. So I'm just not quite sure how this all fits. And also, hello, everybody in the chat. The chat is full right now. So big ups to everybody. Happy Friday. Wherever you may be watching us right now, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a weird. I think Dubas is like, oh, look at me! I added grit to go with my analytics. Something's just not right there.
Maybe it's a behind the scenes thing with his wife. Maybe they've been planning on moving back to Toronto when his career was over.
Sure, but it doesn't fit the roster.
No, but it's like
retire.
Maybe they're ready to buy a house there. No, from Toronto's perspective, it makes absolutely no sense at all. But I have a hard time believing someone who lived on the West Coast and enjoyed that sunshine for so many years wants to go back to Toronto in winters.
No, the 6 is nice though.
Right.
Yeah.
But you also don't know where they're going to be playing too.
Yeah, it's true.
If they have that Canadian division that has been mentioned,
which I think is a good idea, at least for maybe the first half of the season.
Exactly, since they're not going to open up the borders anytime soon.
You do like a Northeast division, a West division. You just try and keep teams traveling as little as possible. So maybe the Islanders play the Rangers. The Rangers, Islanders, and Devils play 20 times. Kind of like what baseball did.
Yeah, you definitely do that. But
because it's not going to be whatever it is, it's not going to be normal.
Right, and the Leafs lost a couple players. They lost Johansson, lost Kapanen. But you're not getting any better.
They're not centers though.
Right, but also not better with the moves they made.
Well, you know who adds grit and helps that team? Nazem Kadri, and they ran him out of town.
Yeah. And Tyson Berry was a disaster there.
Disaster. Actually, I forgot Kerfoot is their third line center. He is a very good player.
Yeah.
So, but then Spezza's your fourth line. So where does Joe play? Joe move the wing? I don't know.
Or they platoon guys. They platoon Spezza and
maybe Spezza and because neither of them are spring chickens. Maybe both of them play 30 games a year. I don't know.
Yeah.
You have to figure they're going to play like about 60 probably.
Right. Well, let's get to another head scratchy move. We all wondered where Tel Hall was going to go, and none of us thought he'd go to Buffalo.
We're still wondering where he's going to be traded to at the deadline.
Yeah, it's maybe he's allergic to the playoffs. because the teams that he's gone to don't sneak the playoffs. I know, Arizona made it because of the qualifying round, but Buffalo is not anywhere close to making the playoffs.
No.
And he's already on the trade watch. So, I mean, it's a head-scratching move. The only thing I can think of is he wants to go to Seattle next year. And he figured maybe
Does he?
Why wouldn't he? Seattle.
Why would he? Why would he? I guess is my question. I mean, do you think they're going to be good right away like Vegas? Do you think Ron Francis can build a good team from scratch?
Well, just because you hate Ron Francis.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the same rules that apply to Vegas. So they're going to get really good players. They can have
but still, they're not going to be the Stanley Cup final.
But
your son makes a great point here in the chat. Colorado, which is true. Colorado offered him 1 year at 6.5. Take that.
Well, yeah.
Why wouldn't you take that? You could win a cup with that team.
Yeah. He still could have done that and got paid next year with Seattle.
Exactly. So why take 8 and go into hockey purgatory? He could have gotten 6 or 6.5 from the Bruins or the Avalanche. This screams to me a guy who doesn't care about winning. That's what it screams to me.
Maybe it's Bill's Mafia has something on him. Who knows?
Those people are weird.
You see that story? The Belugas who own both teams are disastrous.
Belugas.
Yeah, Belugas.
You're really good with name pronunciation. Make sure you get Meredith. It's Marakovits, okay?
I already said.
Make sure you get that right.
And we'll get to Meredith in a couple of minutes here.
Okay. You're really good at it's Vartan.
They went to trade. What's it called? This is going to be a weekly thing right now. If I boop Dan for a second, but they went to trademark Bill's Mafia today, which is a bad option, personally. I mean, it's not a really good term, and for them to capitalize money off that, it's a little shady. Hey, come back, Dan.
How you doing, big guy?
It's gonna be a weekly thing.
Yeah.
You keep pissing me off on a weekly basis.
I just want you to be better at your job. That's all. It's because I love.
All right, so that's true too. Okay, finish the beer and we'll get back to you, Dan.
Yeah, or just have another one. Actually, so have a shot.
Yeah, exactly. No, he left the shot there. Okay, so yeah, it's another move. Patrick Marleau is going back to San Jose.
Yeah,
and we posed the question: is Patrick Marleau a Hall of Famer? Real quick.
I think he is.
Oh, you're asking me? Can I talk now?
You can talk.
I think he is only because he's a compiler. He's played so many games that he put up Hall of Fame numbers. But if you ask me off the top of my head, is he a Hall of Famer? I'd say no. But he'll get in because of his numbers. But the fact that he might get in before Alexander Mogilny is a fucking joke.
I agree. In terms of talent, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. But you're right.
He's all really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you play those many games.
Exactly. He played like 1,800 games. So,
right. But before he gets
law of averages, he's a very good player.
Right.
He has 1,300 points.
Right.
Do you remember any of them?
No, but
I'm not trying to shit on him. He's had a great career. He's a great player.
No, absolutely. But you mentioned Mogilny, definitely. Pierre Turgeon should be in before both those guys. But
I agree.
But whatever. All right, so we talked about the Yankees. Disappointing.
I gotta be professional through this because I am not happy with the Yankees.
Yeah, I'm not too. I mean, this season was kind of a wash, but we're gonna bring in.
Martin's gonna love this segment as a Mets fan.
We're back up.
Let's bring in Meredith Marakovits, who is the Yankee Clubhouse reporter for Yes Network. Hey, Meredith.
Hi, how y'all doing?
We're doing. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
All right, so you probably figured you'd still be working now rather than being home. Another disappointing ending. They had the end of the season press conference. Aaron Boone's coming back. I guess the biggest move going forward right now is, are they going to resign DJ LeMahieu? I mean, both parties want it, and he's been great the last 2 years. Great deal. The machine. But is this really going to happen?
Time will tell. I mean, he's going to command a lot of money. And I think the biggest issue when you look at this Yankees team right now is the defense up the middle. LeMahieu at second. He's been sound defensively. He's won Gold Gloves in the past. But Gleyber Torres did not have a good year at shortstop. He continually made mistakes. And while Mendoza has worked with him a lot, and they said going into the season. They feel like he can be an everyday shortstop. I have a feeling they're going to revisit that and see exactly what they want to do with that position. The issue being, if they move Gleyber back to second, where does that leave DJ LeMahieu? LeMahieu is incredibly valuable. You wonder how much money the Yankees are going to spend this offseason because of everything that happened with COVID and the loss of money there with no fans in the stands, just like every other team out there. So you wonder, A, where does that leave the rest of the team? B, how much is he going to command? I think they're going to make an effort. There will be conversations. Will it happen? Only House Steinbrenner knows that, and Brian Cashman as well.
So I guess the question is, everybody obviously wants DJ back. I think DJ probably wants to be back.
Sure.
And we saw Gleyber struggle at shortstop. And obviously Urshela's at third.
Right.
It's like almost like they have a logjam up front. Do they move? Would they consider moving maybe LeMahieu to first, Torres back to shortstop? I don't know what the answer would be. Gleyber back to second. There'd be a hole at shortstop. Maybe Voit DHs. It just seems like there's a logjam of infielders right now.
And then if Voit DHs, what are you going to do with Giancarlo Stanton? Right.
I'm assuming he would be hurt.
I mean, between him and Aaron Judge, it doesn't seem like they can stay on the field for the entire season. And I have to tell you, I love Giancarlo Stanton. He's been great to deal with. When he's in the lineup, he's proven that he can be productive. And he really had things going on early this year. He almost seemed like he had returned to his MVP form. And then, of course, he got injured again. And for those guys, I know it's incredibly frustrating. A lot of fans are frustrated by it, and I don't blame them. But it's not like these guys are trying to get injured. They want to be out there on the field. But that infield logjam, Voit, he's not going to command a lot of money. You have Gleyber Torres, who's still under team control. Gio Urshela is not going to make a ton of money. Yes, they want LeMahieu, but again, exactly where does he fit? You also heard the name Lindor a lot, and the Yankees have loved Lindor for a long time. So do you bring in Lindor, pay that type of money, move Gleyber to second, and unfortunately, that doesn't really leave a spot for DJ LeMahieu? Or do you think about trading Gleyber Torres?
Wow.
I don't know that would happen. I'm sure all possibilities will be explored. And, obviously they love Gleyber's bat, but defensively, he either needs to improve greatly at shortstop or they need to move him back to second.
Now, what they think about, you mentioned trading Torres, and you mentioned Gio Urshela makes a little money. He's been great the last 2 years. Even trading him, because it's a pretty affordable contract, you can move him, potentially get a starting pitcher or, bullpen help.
I think everything's on the table right now. They're looking at ways to make this team better. And let's be honest with ourselves. This team was not a bad team. They were inconsistent, but talent-wise, player for player, that team should still be playing. The Rays, obviously, their pitching staff has been superior this postseason and really all season long. But I think they'll consider everything. I think this year, and that's been the trend, they'll be looking at it a lot from a cost perspective too. This is not a Yankees team that is going to go out and buy every single player on the free agent market. It just doesn't happen like that anymore. They'll go and get a piece if they think it's going to put them over the edge, like they did last year with Garrett Cole, giving him an unbelievably lucrative contract. They'll make that commitment. The Yankees spend money, but they're not going to spend it foolishly, especially when you don't know what next year is going to hold from the point of fan revenue.
Yeah, that's the Mets' job to spend money foolishly, right, Michael?
You know what? My Mets finally might actually spend as much money as the Yankees moving forward.
All right, let's hope so. Yeah, that's the best thing you got this year was a new owner potentially.
Yeah, for sure.
So now, what would you have done if A-Rod would have owned the team?
I would have been out.
You were finally crossed over.
I would have said, you know what? I'll be a Dodgers fan because the Dodgers are. I've lived in LA for almost 40 years. The Dodgers are my National League team. Sorry, the Mets are my team, and when the Mets are out, I root for the Dodgers. Obviously, I root for the Mets when they play the Dodgers. But yeah, I've been a Mets fan since I was 5. So I probably would not have jumped ship, but it would have been just such a circus. And what if what happens to the team when they break up in 3 years? It's like.
These are all valid questions, right?
Well, I'm an SNY employee, so I was actually hoping for A-Rod and J-Lo to be my boss.
Oh, great. I worked for SNY back in the day.
I know you did, yes. Not at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, and I spent a cup of coffee there too. Very small cup. Yeah.
Very small.
Yeah, very, very small. Yeah, but maybe, like you mentioned, the Yankees will spend money. There's a pitcher out there who both New York teams going to want, Trevor Bauer. And I know Garrett Cole and Trevor Bauer have a little bit of history, maybe a little drama. Do you think obviously, if the Yankees sign them, they'll probably work it out. But do you think, because they need starting pitching? Jay Happ is probably gone. Who knows with Tanaka? Dave Paxton probably gone. So there's a lot of holes in that rotation. Do you see Brian Cashman going after Bauer?
I don't know that that's going to happen. Bringing Bauer to New York, that would be an interesting fit, to say the least. The Yankees are pretty buttoned up and like to do things a certain way. Not saying it couldn't work and it couldn't happen, because we've seen pitchers come through before that have been a little bit more outspoken or a little different from the typical Yankees brand, and they've had success in pinstripe. So I don't think it's an impossible thing. I think it's more of how much money is he going to command? How much money is he going to command? Are there other areas that they need to fill? Do they feel as though they can use some of those younger guys in that rotation and count on them? So, you have Garrett Cole, you're going to have Jordan Montgomery. Luis Severino should be back probably June, July, I believe. You have Clark Schmidt, you have Davy Garcia, you have some guys that are on the younger side where there certainly will be hiccups because they are on the younger side, but have a ton of potential. I think they'll go out there and get a pitcher. I just don't know that it's going to be, top of the line, best pitcher available. They did that last year. You could always use pitching. I just don't know that they're going to spend like that on pitching.
I love that answer, because Trevor Bauer is going to look so damn good in orange and blue. It's going to be wonderful.
I can't wait to watch the show if it happens. I really.
What a rotation. I mean, with a healthy Syndergaard, DeGrom, Bauer. Matz, I don't know what his deal is. He's been, supposed to be the next best thing for the last, 5 years now?
It's so weird with that team because they had so much potential, and I've never seen a window close. It's crazy. Yeah. I've never seen anything like it.
On paper, that team should be really good.
It should be good.
Yeah.
Well,
speaking of a former Met, Mike, what do you think about, would Marcus Stroman be a good fit
for the Yankees?
Yeah.
Well, he knows the AL East fairly well, so you'd think that would potentially be an advantage. I don't see that happening. I could see conversations and it being explored, but I don't know. I think it's tough to say who's a good fit, who's not. If you're a good pitcher, you're a good fit. I don't look at it necessarily from a personality standpoint. I do think, especially on the Yankees side, they take that into consideration. Can you pitch in a big market? Can you deal with the media? Because that's all something that comes with it. I think the beauty about the Yankees team is, even if you bring in a guy like a Stroman, a guy like Bauer, they are not the only one that's going to be commanding people around their locker, right? There's so many guys on that roster that command attention and that are interviewed on a daily basis. It's not all on their shoulders. So I think guys are able to better assimilate themselves to the environment because they're not the only star on the team. Think of Giancarlo Stanton, although you think back to that outfield and what it could have been if they didn't trade everybody. He was a big star on the Marlins, right? And he was answering the questions every day. Yankees clubhouse, there are a lot of guys that can answer those questions. It's not always going to one guy's locker. So, it's going to be crazy to see how it all pans out. I think the Yankees are going to lean a lot on their youth, and I think they will attempt to bring Tanaka back, if anything. He's been pretty consistent. I know he didn't have a great postseason. That wild card game was just wild. They decided to delay it. It wasn't raining. Then play it when it's raining sideways. And he's got guys on a splitter and a slider and can't grip a baseball. So that is a recipe for disaster. I think Masahiro Tanaka wants to stay in New York. I have a feeling he will be with one of the New York teams, whether that be the Yankees or the Mets. And I wouldn't be surprised if Tanaka's willing to take slightly less money to stay with the Yankees, if that's an option on the table. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. I would be more surprised to see Bauer or Stroman happen.
Right, and you mentioned Stanton, and Aaron Boone said he's going to go to a full-time DH, so that kind of leaves the door open left field. Will this finally be the start of the Clint Frazier era, being a full-time player out there now? Time
will tell, and I think that'll be very dependent on how consistent he is. We also have Mike Tauchman on the roster. I know Gardner wants to come back. I don't know that makes sense. They may be able to work something out at a lower value, like they did last year. So I think he's definitely going to get reps. I think we've seen in that outfield that unfortunately guys not only need days, but have had trouble making it through the last couple of seasons. So Clint Frazier's definitely going to get his at-bats. And I think defensively, he was definitely much improved this year, another year removed from that concussion. You saw last year how hesitant he was trying to get balls against the wall, tracking balls that were close to the wall. He just did not excel in that area. And for good reason, you understand why. But he did make a lot of improvements, and offensively, he had some success this year. But I don't think the bat was ever much of a question for Frazier. It was more the defense and where was that going to eventually be.
Now, changing gears just a little bit, being the Yankees clubhouse reporter, how difficult was it this season not actually being in the clubhouse?
It sucked, to be honest.
That's the best, most honest answer we've heard so far.
I am not going to sugarcoat it. It wasn't a very fun year. It was fun in some areas in that our broadcast was the same throughout. So it was myself, David Cohn, Michael Kay, and then Paulie in his basement, which was
fun. Paul in the basement was fun.
In itself. They should have had a camera that was just watching Paul's camera, if that makes sense. Because they didn't have him on all the time, but they should have done like a full behind the scenes thing there because it was a riot to see what was going on. Wait, what was I talking about? Okay, Paulie, whatever. Oh, doing the job in the clubhouse. The whole job is based on relationships and getting information. And while I can easily text somebody or call somebody, I would have some one-on-one Zoom interviews to not actually see people and be able to just like pull them aside for a quick second and say, hey, off the record, was difficult. And then you'd be surprised how much knowledge you gain just being down on the warning track during batting practice, because you never know who's going to show up. You can have a day where this scout's there. You can have a day where Tim Naring is there, Cashman is there. And it might not be that big group setting where everyone's talking to them. You may have a couple minutes where you're just kind of shooting the breeze with them, figuring out some things, finding out some information that you may not use that night on the broadcast, but it's kind of in the back of your head and you can use it as time goes on. So throughout the postseason, I was here at home. Sorry guys, I didn't redo my setup. I was twisted this way. And it looked at first like I was in prison. I've lived here for 3.5 years, but I'm never home. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to redo my unit. I'm going to redo the floors and put up wallpaper. Yeah, didn't do any of that. And then I was broadcasting from home and I'm like, this looks so bad. So I got peel and stick wallpaper. I installed shelves. They made a little set behind me and all the while just wearing slippers. So
perfect.
It was the same setup, but it stunk because you don't get that same energy. You don't get that same kind of adrenaline when you're about to do live TV, when you have running tights and slippers on in your living room. So.
All I know is that you and Dan both have your Emmys prominently featured, and I have none.
Well, no, mine are downstairs.
Yeah.
But at least the commute from the Bronx wasn't so bad now this year.
That's true. We did do all the games, the regular season games we did from Yankee Stadium. So that was bizarre in itself because they would be on the road. We'd be at Yankee Stadium and it would just be completely dark out. There'd be no lights on in the stadium.
That's so weird.
It was bizarre. But I will say this, everyone at the Yes Network did a great job under crazy circumstances. And I'm just thankful that I was employed because there's so many people that were not that fortunate. So as weird as it was still good to be covering baseball.
Right. And there was one game, I think in the playoffs that John Sterling and Susan Wallman did at Yankee Stadium while they were playing a soccer game.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah. Suze called me and actually I had like a life-size cutout of Suze here because we ordered them from the Tampa Bay Rays fans cutout. So she was like chilling over there and then it started to get creepy. So like I get rid of it. But she called me and she's like, you'll never guess what they're doing. I'm like, what are they doing? She's like, they're going to be playing soccer here. How am I going to broadcast baseball when they're playing soccer? I'm like, I don't know. Close the window. Much you can do. I don't think they're going to change their schedule. So, but yeah.
That's actually one of the things I missed this year is you and Susan on the road together. Like you two could easily have like a reality show that Yes should do. It was absolutely fantastic.
It's fun. We have a lot of fun. We have an interesting relationship. When I first got to Yes, she was very quiet. I was quiet too. I didn't know anybody. And then over the years, I'd say, do you want to go out and grab a drink after a game or go to dinner or something like that? And we just became really, really good friends. And last year going into the season, she said to me, Mare, I need to be more like you. You're always out doing stuff. You're always going on adventures. Make sure I do stuff this year. So I said, all right, I'll hold you to it. We had our little Niagara Falls trip where we did I forget what the Canada side one is called. The US side, I think, is Made of the Mist, whatever.
Made of the Mist, yeah, that's what I was on.
The Canadian version is. We did that. We went wine tasting. We've had so many fun adventures. And I think we just talked about, I think I'm going to pick her up and we're going to go see some llamas or some alpacas.
That's fantastic. They're the same thing, I think.
Yeah. No, they're slightly different, but coming to Insta Live soon, right? Walrus and alpacas. Who would want
nice of you to expand her horizons.
I try, I try, but she has some of the most unbelievable stories because she's covered this team for so long, especially during the George days, that I could just sit there and listen to her tell stories all day long. And, she's a pioneer in this business. And I think people forget that sometimes, how difficult it was for her and others like Claire Smith and what she has gone through throughout the course of her career. So I feel like she doesn't get enough love in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. Meredith, thank you for a few minutes today. Really appreciate it. Check her out next season on Yes and enjoy the off season and do some work in the house.
All right, finally, now's the time. Nope, I'm about to go to Florida. It's going to get cold here soon. I am out.
Nice.
Don't get spit on by any of those llamas.
No.
Yeah. Keep your heads up. They're mean.
Yeah, right.
It's going to ruin my whole alpaca llama excitement.
Thank you, Meredith.
See you.
Take care.
That was great.
Yeah, she was great. Yeah, she does a great job.
Susan Wallman is an absolute legend in this industry, and those two together on social media, it's unbelievable. You every time they posted, especially when they were in the Made of the Mist at Niagara Falls, it was must-watch TV. They would have a fantastic show together, like a modern-day Odd Couple.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, and then for those who listen in New York or in surrounding areas, WFAN, she was the first voice, Susan Wallman, that was welcoming, listeners, 1987.
And she's 75 years old, but she, you would think she's 50 if you or 45.
Exactly. And her and John Sterling, I mean, you can say what you want. It's an entertaining listen.
Absolutely.
It really is. It really is. But
thank Meredith for coming on. That was great.
Yeah, absolutely. Now baseball, we could have the World Series matchup tonight. The Rays hanging on for dear life, get up a 3-0 lead and they lost the last 2 games. Houston, no one wants to see Houston there, I guess, but Houston himself. And and the other matchup is interesting because the Braves can have a chance to do it. And the Braves, big monkey on their back, postseason monkey, can never get out of the early, rounds.
This is not your father's Braves team.
No,
it's much different.
Right. And then unfortunately the Dodgers are still the same Dodgers who will look like they'll disappoint. Clayton Kershaw, who, Hall of Fame pitcher, not a Hall of Fame postseason pitcher.
Well, he's wearing Skechers. That's a problem.
Well, maybe.
One of my buddies posted shout out to Today in Sports on Twitter. They posted, a picture of him wearing Skechers. Like he's wearing dad shoes. What do you expect?
Right. Don't knock Skechers. They're super comfortable.
So you're not looking for comfort. They gotta look nice.
By the way, Braves Tampa is Fox's worst nightmare.
Oh yeah.
Out of the last 4 that are left.
But the Braves are so likable. They are just.
I agree, but in terms of market value, Dodgers.
Yeah, I think the world needs to see Acuna more, though. I think that team is just loaded with young players, and obviously Dodgers Houston is probably what everybody's rooting for, right? Because the hatred between that the Dodgers had.
Yeah. That's the one I was rooting for.
Yeah, it just sucks that there no fans, especially with Houston, just to hear all the.
Well, there's fans in Texas, right? Aren't the Woods in the World Series going to be in Texas?
It's going to be spread out, but it's like a Super Bowl. It's very neutral site fans, I guess.
Yeah, but
I thought the World Series was at Globe Life.
Arlington, right?
Yeah, that's right near Houston. There'll be plenty of Astros fans there.
You can hear it during the Dodger Braves games. There's definitely more Atlanta fans because it's closer.
Right.
Yeah, but Braves, who don't sure at all, doesn't really matter to them. But you look at the Braves real quick. Not the Braves. The Rays. They are like the new Moneyball team. You know, the A's for years. You know, they made the playoffs, couldn't get past like the first or second round. Now the Rays have kind of taken it up a notch. They'll still have the same issue, I think, with Oakland. They won't be able to sign their players and eventually end up trading them.
But they don't care about that. They just cycle through because they draft and develop so well.
Yeah, but you kind of spin your wheels that way then. I mean, this is.
I mean, do you? Like, when you look at the last 10 years, they have been a contender. Like, look, they haven't won the World Series, but they have consistently had winning records and been in the playoffs like probably 7 of those 10 years.
But what's the goal, though?
The goal is to win the World Series. This team could win the World Series.
No, this one can. That's why you got to take advantage of it this year.
I think they paid Blake Snell.
Yep.
They pay one guy.
He's the best player on their team. But like there's no one else. Honestly, right now, there's no one else on their team that will get a massive contract besides maybe Glasnow. And then obviously Alcantara and Meadows has been banged up. But I mean, they don't have a. You know what? It's not going to be a problem because when they're in Montreal, they're going to have all the money in the world.
What they should do, I mean, because obviously, you know, baseball is so reliant on like, you know, ticket revenue for, you know, for everything. Contract the Rays or merge them into the Marlins.
No, don't contract them. Just move them to Montreal. You'd be fine.
Too many teams. There's too many teams.
No, there's not. There's 30.
Exactly. There's too many teams.
You're not going to lose teams. They're going to expand. They're going to go to 32 like everybody else.
Right, and then you're going to have, you know, shitty pitchers. You know,
you have shitty pitchers now. Stop being a Debbie Downer. Michelle brings up a good point here. Why is it the World Series when it's
far too much now?
Michelle asked, "Why is it the World Series when only the United States and Canada plays?" That's a good question, Michelle. I have no idea.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because Venezuela plays, Honduras plays, Dominican Republic plays.
Oh yeah, those play. Yeah, right. That's a good point. Yeah, it's an international game. Yeah.
Italy plays. There's actually I forgot what it's called, but when Mexico plays and Holland has a team, France has a team, Italy has a team.
Oh yeah, what was that? What's that called? The World Cup of Baseball?
You know, it's the baseball
something. Last time it was good because the United States won. It was really entertaining.
Zach would know. I'm sure Zach knows.
Yeah, Zach. What's that called? Look it up for us.
It's a World Baseball Classic.
World Baseball Classic. Yeah. WBC, the kids call it.
Yeah, I covered. Oh, great story. So I covered the 2013 one, and we traveled with USA going to the second round on their charter. Couldn't be more corporate. You know, boring flight. You know, nothing. You didn't hear anything. We flew with Venezuela, going to California. It was an unbelievable. It was like soul plane on the airplane. It was unbelievable. I sat next to, who was it? Someone's relatives, and they were a trip. And the whole flight was just music. It was great. It was such a fun flight, and they ended up winning the title. But I mean, there's some amazing teams. Israel had a team. Italy.
Right. Holland's actually good because like they have the players from Aruba and Curacao and Antigua. Yeah, so I know Didi was on there and a couple of the other guys. Yeah.
Right.
So their team's pretty good usually. Jonathan Scope. Yeah.
I think Andrew Jones one year.
I was surprised how many guys were on that Dutch team. I was like, what?
When I took a tour of Curacao, I got to see they actually stopped at Andrew Jones's house and Didi Gregorius, their neighbors.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to Aruba next year. So
it's amazing. Have you been?
No, first time. So
it's my favorite island. I've been there 3 times. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
When are you going?
Going next July, 20-year anniversary.
Are you just you and Jody? Or are you taking?
The kids? Yeah. Screw the kids.
So you think they'll allow Americans into other countries by then?
Hopefully.
That's a good question.
Hopefully. I better get insurance for those airline tickets. Definitely.
Zach, Tatis Jr. will play in the next World Baseball Classic. He wasn't in the league yet for the last one.
Yeah, his father probably played.
Yeah, probably. What's next? Are we getting to before trivia? Are we doing Ask Barthan? How are we doing this
now? So let's.
What are we doing?
Let's do Barthan.
Okay, I'm going to drink while you do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you have to take a sip every time I mention the word alias or cast.
Right.
I'm going to be hammered. I better get more beer.
Yeah. Okay. So as we all know, our good friend here was on a great show, Alias. Drink.
Oh, sorry.
When I say it.
Oh, when you say it. Oh, okay. I just like whoever says it, let the drink. Okay. So here we go. First question. So this is from Eva. Michael Vaughn has been to Lisbon in an Alias episode. Will Michael Vartan come to Lisbon too? Do I need a Red Wing on that for that to happen?
What's a Red Wing?
And then she says, "What?
What?
What's a Red Wing?
What's a Red Wing?
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
Anyway, I've actually never been to Lisbon, but I have many friends. Not many. I have a couple of friends who've actually moved to Portugal, and they say it is by far one of the greatest countries they've ever been to.
Oh, it's a wig.
Okay. Red wig. Okay.
Oh, a red wig.
Oh, I get it now. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes, a red wig. Sydney Bristow style. Everyone I've spoken to says Portugal is amazing. It's got all of the beautiful things that Spain and the south of France offer, but it's quiet and the people are super nice, and it's just like a chill version of Southern Europe, and it's just a beautiful country that is not very spoken of, and they do their own thing, and it's a lot of people are moving there because real estate's actually quite affordable still.
The food's outrageously good too.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
But yes, so to answer your question, my cousin lives there. So as soon as this COVID is over, I'll jump on a plane to Portugal for sure.
Nice. All right. Well, we'll set something up, Eva. Okay. All right. We got a question from Michelle. Is everything now is being rebooted or remade? Now, will there be a Alias reboot?
There's been a lot of talk about an Alias reboot in the last 5 years. Originally, there was talk of an Alias movie because it was such a, Alias was one of those shows. It was great, but it was tough. Like if you missed a couple of episodes, and back then there was, your TiVo or whatever it was, you were kind of screwed. It wasn't, you couldn't just pop in and out. So J.J. Abrams was teetering with the idea of making a movie, which made more sense. And then about 2 or 3 years ago, I heard rumblings of a reboot, but it would probably have to be with a different cast because I cannot run down those hallways like I did 20 years ago. Neither can Jennifer, neither can Victor Garber. Yeah. So and I've been asked that question before in interviews, and I'm all for it, but it would be a little. I would be a little pissed, to be honest with you, if someone else was playing my character.
Sure.
If the reboot is just one season of like 8 episodes of what of these characters, moved on to, then fine. But yeah, we're all getting older, so if there is any reboots, they better hurry up.
Yeah.
Carrie asks, who was your favorite co-star, and are y'all all still friends?
This is going to sound like a typical sort of I'm taking the fifth answer. I'd say Jennifer and Victor were my favorite co-stars only because I worked with them the most. But I will say this, and this is not a lie. It is by far, and I've been doing this for 30 years, by far the sweetest, most down-to-earth, no bullshit ensemble cast I've ever worked with. Everyone was so. You're talking about guys like like Victor Garber, who's been nominated for Tonys, and Ron Rifkin, and just monsters of the industry. And like literally, the moment Jennifer won the Golden Globe, she became even nicer. I remember we went to this back in the day. There was this thing called the Upfronts, and every year you'd go there to sell your show to the networks and all this stuff. And we were there after we shot the pilot. And I remember we were sitting in some park in New York, and we were having lunch. And we kind of looked around the table and we were like, "Okay, this is too good to be true." I mean, who's going to be the asshole in this cast? Because there's always one that ruins it for everybody. And I swear to God, for 5 years, it just, to give you an example, not a joke, every Monday morning, Jennifer Garner would come to set with this huge baked good she'd slaved over on the weekend for the crew. And we were lucky in network, you do 22 episodes. So a lot of the crew members were happy to take the summer off because they'd worked for almost 10 months straight. And so we were lucky to have the same crew for 5 years. And when you're spending 13, 14 hours, sometimes 18 hours a day with, your crew and your cast, they become like family. They really do. The last day of shooting on Alias, everyone was literally crying like a baby. It was the most sort of, I was like, oh, but I've stayed great friends with, I talk to Victor all the time. I text with Jennifer all the time. I've kind of lost touch with Bradley. I don't know what happened to that guy. I haven't seen him in anything recently. Kevin Weiss.
He's a raccoon most of the time.
Yeah. So Greg was on our show. So it's by far my favorite experience in the 30 years I've been doing this.
Right. And you mentioned Greg, and I have a question from Cassidy. Who is better on the ice, Greg or Jennifer?
Oh, Jennifer.
Okay.
Yeah, because Greg had literally never really skated. I don't think.
Right.
So he was he was the goalie, so he was just standing there with his giant pads that made him look ridiculous. Jennifer actually took to it quite well. We shot maybe 5 or 6 hockey teams over the 5 years, and her first scene she was a little shaky and didn't skate around, but then she got the hang of it. She's a natural athlete, so it's normal for her to get better at what she does.
Right. And Alicia wants to know, do you have a favorite episode?
I don't. I have a couple of favorite scenes, but unfortunately I don't remember what they are. What I loved about the show is that there were, there were some parts of every episode. There was this rotunda scene where the entire cast gathers and the mission is laid out to what we're going to do in that episode. And it was so boring because you've got 15 actors in a room, and it took literally 2 days to shoot those scenes. And but there was also a lot of emotional stuff, and that was my favorite stuff. Dramatic acting is my favorite. I wish I could do comedy. I'm just not funny enough.
Sure.
Drama, suck it. The drama was, some of the dramatic scenes with Jen and I had. It took me a good 2 years to not be nervous every time I was doing a scene with Victor, because
I understand. I get that. I get that totally.
I'd be looking at him. I was like, "Oh my God, this guy has been on Broadway, and he must
He's
be
a legend.
Who's this shit fucking kid who thinks he's like, halfway decent looking with his fancy hair and all?" And by the way, he admitted to me years later, just like, "I was nervous acting with you." I was like, "Why on earth?"
Why?
Because you were good and you were young and you reminded me of me when I was younger, and I was just like, I wanted to do a great job. I wanted to impress you, and I was like, "You wanted to impress me?" I just found that to be so sweet and just such a, sort of an encapsulation of his character. He's one of the sweetest people ever. Also, watching him deal with tactical equipment when we were on missions, the funniest thing ever. It's the only time I ever saw him get angry or pushed out of shape. He would lose his shit because we'd have these tactical vests with, and he'd be like, "Well, what the fuck? This thing's not fitting." And we'd be like, "Victor, calm the fuck down. Get this stunt guy over to fit your vest for you." Shooting guns, watching him shoot a semi-automatic weapon. Woo, man, I gave him shit for that. Yeah, it was like, or we did some gun training. We had to.
Right. Yeah, you have to. Right.
Like Jennifer. Most of the actors were you, like cops. It's a thing. And like when you're holding your M16, you never have your finger on the trigger because you don't want to shoot. Your whatever. Victor, it was like pew 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 pew. So yeah, I have so many great memories. I think most people in time only remember the good stuff. We shot. We had 18, 19, 20-hour days quite frequently, and that's a long day. But yeah, still the greatest experience of my acting life.
And when you spend that much time with people, it's going to go one of the ways. Either you love each other and you become family for the rest of your life, or you despise each other and you want to run away and just and you want to kill yourself pretty much. Like Noel and I, how many times on the road do we travel together? At least a dozen times.
Yeah.
And there were. We literally would spend 20 hours a day. We did probably 4 or 5 World Series together. We did 4 or 5 All-Star games, a number of other things. And we'd be gone for 12 days at a time for 20 hours a day. And it's just okay, this person's either going to be your best friend or you're going to strangle them. And this is here's an example. I'll never forget this. We were in St. Louis, I think 2008. And we had been on, we traveled overnight. We were doing stuff. We were doing the game. It's 2 a.m. and like we were catered by Panera Bread, and I'll never forget. Like I was like, I just said over my headset, I was like, God, I'm starving right now. And Noel's like, oh, I hid extra sandwiches in the air conditioned bed so they'd stay cold, and he throws like a roast beef sandwich at me. I'm like, and that is why we're friends.
That's right.
Always looking out for you, buddy.
That's right. We had, and in Chicago, like 2 prostitutes wanted to come back to our room and party. And I'll never forget that. We were walking back to the hotel, and they look at me and Noel, and they're like, "You two are gorgeous." And I'm like, "Okay, I know something's up right now." No one ever says that.
Yeah, not even my wife.
A couple comments here. Manders Q says she doesn't have a question, but Never Been Kissed is her favorite movie of all time. So there's that.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you.
And a great comment from Bella here. Hello, Michael. No question, but just want to thank you and Alias. You helped me get through my chemotherapy in tough times. Binging on your series. I am well now. Thank you.
Oh, my God. That's so great. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad you're well now. That's the best news of all.
Absolutely.
So as an actor, I'm not really an actor, honestly. I have a hard time self-promoting. I don't like the red carpet. I like acting. I don't like being an actor. If that makes any sense.
It does.
Yeah.
But you forget sometimes that, I shit on myself all the time. I'm very self-deprecating. I still have imposter syndrome. But every once in a while, with a comment like that, you remember that, people actually do watch sometimes. And sometimes they might even like it. And what you do is, it's not saving the world by any stretch. It's a silly job, if you want my honest opinion. But it entertains people. And it's so great to hear. So thank you for sharing that story. And I'm so beyond thrilled that you beat it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Amanda just said, rewatching Alias now on season 3, I forgot how much I love this show.
Joanna's got a great question. If you could bring back any team's vintage jersey, which one would it be? That's a good question.
Hockey?
Yeah, it could be any sport. Let's do it. It doesn't say. Any sport.
For me, hands down in hockey would be the Jets.
The Winnipeg Jets?
The Solani era Jets.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. They wore those for the outdoor game a few years ago.
Yeah, I love those uniforms.
For me, it would be the powder blue Nordiques jersey.
That's nice.
Yeah, those are good. I guess for me would be probably the old Canucks ones when they made the cup.
Orange, yellow,
black. The white, orange, and black. The black, orange, gold.
Yeah.
They wore those. They started wearing those last year.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Skateboarding? Yeah. Those are pretty cool.
I like those too.
All right. Do you guys want to get to trivia?
Sure. Let's do it.
Okay, great. This was a great segment. We should do this more often. Really good questions, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Tonight's question is, we have the top 30 American-born goal scorers of all time. So you guys need to name anyone in the top 30 who is American-born goal scorers. There is one player on this list who is dual citizenship. He counts as American. So he was born in America. We're going to count him. Okay? We will start with Barthan.
Mike Modano.
Okay, he's number 2 on the list. 561 goals.
Okay. Pat LaFontaine.
Pat LaFontaine's number 6, 468.
Patrick Kane.
Oh, there we go. Number 10 at 389.
Former head coach of the New York Islanders, Doug Waite.
Oh, God. Yeah, he just made it. Number 28.
Ooh, that's
278. You remember, he wasn't a goal scorer. 278.
Yeah.
How about Jeremy Roenick?
Number 4, 513.
I guess we'll do the dual citizenship guy, Brett Hull.
Number 1, 741.
Wow, I didn't realize he was dual.
Yep.
How about John?
His mom was American. His dad's a Nazi.
His dad's a Nazi?
No, he has said some really borderline stuff.
Oh. Phil Kessel?
Phil Kessel, number 12 at 371.
Okay, I think current guys.
Former Islander captain, Bill Guerin.
Bill Guerin, number 7, 429.
I thought you said that already.
He said Doug Waite, then he said,
he
said Bill Guerin. He's going through all the former Islanders.
Yeah, they're all washed up when they come to the Island.
I'm going through current. How about Zach Parise?
Yeah, number 11, 386.
Wow, 386.
That's a lot. Yeah.
A lot.
Better get the right Mullen here. Joe Mullen.
The wrong Esposito.
Yeah.
Yes, Joe Mullen, number 5, 502. We are missing number 3.
How about John LeClaire?
John LeClaire, number 9, 406.
Thinking of that 90s Olympic championship. I mean,
the 96 World Cup team. Yeah.
World Cup team, yeah.
That was one of the greatest events of hockey I've ever seen in my life.
Amazing.
Did you guys see the documentary on it?
No.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was about the final series against the United States and Canada, and it was basically murder on the ice. It was crazy.
Yeah. We played the games like a year or two ago. I watched, and it was just like, oh my God, hockey has changed so much.
Yes, it has. Right. You watch for 12 seconds, and there's like 17 penalties.
Yeah. Totally. And then 2 years later, the disaster in Nagano with that team.
Oh, God.
But one of those guys, Keith Tkachuk.
Number 3, 538.
I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Oh, boy.
Because I have to put a king in there. I'm going to go with Dustin Brown.
Yes, number 22 with 299 goals.
Oh, my boy, Brownie.
Yep. All right. I think a number guy of that team was Tony Amani.
Yes, number 8, 416. You actually guys have the top 12 so far.
Nice.
Number 30. You're missing number 13, who is an active player.
Oh, okay.
Third active player.
Had a notable postseason.
I can't. This year?
Mm-hmm.
Western Conference?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Phil Housley.
Yes, Phil Housley, number 19, which 338 for a defenseman.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I'm going to keep my string of former Islander, deadbeats. Brian Rolston.
Oh, nice.
Brian Rolston. Yeah, he's on here. I know he is. Let's see. Is he not? Yes, he is. Number 17, 342.
I'm not looking at chat at all, but how about Joe Pavelski?
There he is, number 13.
Thanks, Zach.
Oh, someone's asking me what my T-shirt says. It says all of my homies are from everything I've learned from the streets, and it's the Sesame Street Gang.
Yeah. Stop in chat, I'll kill you. Okay.
that was a win, but Zach should come up. We should have the junior reporter out for a segment
just to see his hair. It's getting
sure.
Dude, paint him down and shave it.
It's brutal.
Okay.
Kevin Stevens.
Kevin Stevens, number 20 at 329.
All right, this is getting
hard now. You have no active players left. A couple guys prominent in the 90s. Actually, no, there's one active player left. One active player. Also Western Conference player.
How about Eddie Olczyk?
Very good. Number 15, 342.
Ooh.
Nice. A couple prominent players of the late 80s and early 90s. A former King is on the list. 2 former Kings on the list. Who was also a former Islander. What's up?
Zach Parise.
Oh,
he said it.
That should be a loss, right?
No, it's not.
Maybe I'll ask Zach for help.
That was funny.
Look at chat.
Nope. I refuse. Neil Broughton?
Yeah.
Very nice. He's on here, yeah. The best player from the 1980 Olympic team. 289 goals, number 25.
Yeah, I actually thought of him the other day. I was like, okay.
The tank's empty now. Shit.
God.
The one active player on here.
You said an ex-King, so I'm going to go with Smolinski.
Number 30, Brian Smolinski, 274.
Oh,
there is still one other ex-King on here, too.
Ex-King, American ex-King who's got more than – how many goals does Smolinski have?
274.
I'm hoping because he had that one big year. Bobby Carpenter.
Bobby Carpenter, number 21 with 320. There's only 8 left. You guys doing great.
Is Alaska part of America?
Yeah.
This is total guess. Brian Giunta.
Brian Giunta, yes, number 24, 291.
Nice.
I think I'm done now. I literally cannot think of anyone.
Well, good thing is this is gonna be a pure guess for Noel, I think.
You said Housley already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh shit. Max Pacioretty.
Oh, the last active player, number 26, 280.
That's the guy who had the playoff performance.
Well, yeah, him and Pavelski. Pavelski had the monster playoffs. All right. One player on here is a former King.
Former King. Can you give me the era?
Late 80s into early 90s. Actually, late 80s. He was traded. He started the King and was traded.
Jimmy Carson.
There you go. No, I said traded. I didn't say traded for Gretzky. I just said traded.
I knew it.
You're about to. Jeez, all right. Do I get help too? I mean, he's getting help from you, getting help from my son. All right. I'm just going to throw a name out here. This is probably wrong. Scott Young.
Oh, my God. Yes. 16, 342. Former Whaler.
Because he was on that team too, the 96 team.
Yes, he was. He had some good years.
He did, yeah.
There's 4 players left.
There's 4 players
2 were
left?
very prominent in the early 2000s. One played most notably for the Wild and Sabres. Actually, one most notably played for the Sabres. One most notably played for the Bruins. I'm really impressed. There's only 4. You guys got 26 to 30. It's just fantastic.
I think I have the Bruin guy.
When you say the Wild and Sabres?
This guy played for the Sabres, then he played for the Wild, and I think he went back to the Sabres. He retired maybe only 3 or 4 years ago. Very good in the late 2000s to the mid 2010s.
Jason Pominville?
Yes, the population of Pominville. 293 goals. I wasn't expecting to see him on this list.
Yeah.
But that hint really helped a lot.
All right, there's 3 left.
I think I have the Bruin guy.
Who's that?
Mike Knuble.
Yes, 27, 278. 2 players left. One played a long time ago, and one played in the 80s, also for the Bruins.
Oh, Jesus.
My biggest problem is I'm now at a place where I'm not sure if they're Canadian or American.
I know, right?
Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Bobby Orr.
Yeah. He visited America, so that should count.
I don't know. He just popped into my head, so I'm just going to say it, and I'm pretty sure he's American. Matt Cullen.
He is American. Unfortunately.
Oh, fuck.
Unfortunately, he was 32nd.
Oh, man. Why didn't we do top 40?
Yeah.
Good
All
game.
right, so
Can we take a guess on
the 2 that you missed.
I think I know one of them.
Wait,
What's that?
Dave Christian.
Dave Christian is one of them.
never heard of him.
Dave Christian, yeah. And the other one also had a great career with the Bruins, Peter McNabb.
Wow.
Many years ago. Probably the first great American-born player.
And chat was saying, and I think I wanted to say him, but I didn't for some reason.
TJ Oshie's not in it, no.
No, but he's got to be close, no?
Yeah, he is
What?
42.
All right. Well, good job, Noah.
Very good job, guys. You got all but 2.
Great job. Wow.
Great job. I thought it was going to be over quick.
Yeah. Pulled a lot of that out of her butt. Okay, so
You sure did.
Yeah. All right, so we got 2 more things before we say goodbye. Let's do
Yes.
first.
And well, before we do that, everyone, thank you. This has been a great show today. We thank you all for coming by on a Friday night with us. We thank Meredith for coming on. Subscribe to the channel, please. When we get to 100 subscribers, we're going to give some stuff away. But we really thank you. Appreciate you spending a Friday night with us.
Right? You're giving away an Emmy, right? Is that what you're doing?
No, I'm not giving away an Emmy. No, we'll got someone to Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll send the broken one that my ex-wife threw at me.
Oh, gee.
There's a good story there.
That's hilarious.
Save that for next week. All right, so here we go with cards.
Oh my God! Yes, who is that? Who is that?
Gilbert Dion.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
No fucks needed.
Yeah. So the next one's great too.
Oh.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's literally nothing to do with hockey.
Nothing. You're just a badass.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Look at that jersey.
A jersey, just everything just is on fire, which will lead into our next segment in a second. And then just his hair.
What the hell is that?
Yeah.
That's like Minnesota all-hair team. It's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Yeah, I think he was a member of Styx back in the day. All right, so a lot of people probably saw the story this week, but in Rochester, New York, there was a little incident, and we'll leave it like that. So we have in a rink here, it's just not a Zamboni, because apparently
they made it Zamboni made it very clear that this is the Hydrox to the Oreos of ice cleaners.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's what I tell you: we're in trouble. We are in trouble right now. That's hydraulic fuel. So as soon as you see that, you know we're in trouble.
Oh, there we go.
Oh boy. Yep. All right, so what do you do at this point? He's still cleaning the ice.
Yeah, he's
cleaning the ice. His thing is on fire. He's probably getting burnt to a certain degree.
He's melting the ice and cleaning the ice.
And the fucking Zamboni's about to explode, and he's going to park it back into the garage into confined.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you just leave it on the ice?
Jesus, it's ridiculous.
I'm assuming he ran out of fuel or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have a second novelty ice cleaning device to clean up the hydraulics left on the ice.
Yeah, that's got to be tough. Dude, you think they probably either have to scrape it or just refreeze everything?
Yeah, but that's great. Now I want to read the statement from Zamboni because it's
Please.
Okay, so there has been a numerous improper references to Zamboni in connection with an unfortunate incident in Rochester, New York on Wednesday, October 14th. The ice resurfacing machine seen on fire in the photos and video, which were shared online, were not manufactured by the Zamboni company and should not be referenced as a Zamboni. In itself is an improper reference as a noun. You know, like we see a Band-Aid or a Kleenex or
yeah, like I said, Oreos.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a sandwich cookie.
Right.
Yeah.
There's more. We appreciate the numerous posts by members of the public where they would have taken the opportunity to point out that it was not the Zamboni brand ice surfacer, illustrating the awareness that use of the brand name Zamboni as a generic product descriptor is incorrect.
Oh,
that's fantastic. You're like, look, we didn't do this. Our shit doesn't break.
Yeah, ours just don't catch on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wonder if that rink now is going to invest in a Zamboni.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? You think like, hey guys, we could save $400 if we go with the knockoff brand.
Exactly. Zoomboni or whatever it is, you know.
Zoomboni, yeah. Guys, we don't need an iPod. Let's get a Zoom. Zoom, whatever the hell it was called.
You remember those? Oh my God. Yeah.
I remember one person at work came in with one. I was like, hey dude, look at this. This thing's gonna replace the iPod. Microsoft's making it. Like,
yeah.
No one's gonna use that.
And wasn't there like a kook or something like that? Or it was like a zook? It was like
that sounds racist.
No, but it was the alternative to the Kindle.
Oh yeah, the Nook.
The Nook. I couldn't remember. Yeah. But yeah, that didn't last too long. But yeah, but everyone, thanks for watching.
No, I think that Barnes & Noble makes the Nook. Amazon makes the Kindle.
Yeah, Amazon makes Kindle. Yeah, Barnes & Noble. We all know how well Barnes & Noble's do. But
yeah, you know, right?
Exactly.
Well, I got a new TV today that has Amazon Fire built into it. So.
Oh, cool! Fire is the theme of the show. So
the room's shaping up, right? I got some pictures on the wall. I got some stuff up.
I mean, it looks like you're in solitary. It really does.
It's looking better. Come on, it's looking better.
Yeah, it's looking much better. It's looking a little more lived in now.
Yeah. So hopefully next week you'll have something on the right side of the wall, right?
Yeah. Maybe we're working on that. It's like 1 week at a time. I just order a few things.
Yeah. And guys in the chat, see what else Dan can put up on the wall. Just give him some hints and
send me stuff. I don't care. I'll put anything on the wall.
Send him more postcards so you can put all the way back there.
Those aren't postcards; they're pictures. Actually, they're pictures that I took.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Multi-talented.
Yeah. Too bad we can't see what they are. But
would you like to see? I can go get them if you want.
It's not that important.
No, okay, fine.
All right. Do it for next week. I'll do a tease. Okay. All right. But thanks everyone for watching. Really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel, like the page. We'll do more of these Ask Michael Anything. Maybe we'll do an Ask Dan one. Yes,
we should. Absolutely. No one cares, but that'll be fun.
Exactly. I'll answer anything. I'm pretty boring, but yeah. But thanks so much. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. Have a great weekend, everyone. Stay safe.